Hello, my instructor and everyone. My name is Ushi Joseph. I will be talking about how mangrove trees survive and grow in very tough environment. This presentation is for my introduction to biology course at the University of the People. Let's begin properly by introducing the topic. In this presentation, I will use the mangrove trees as a case study to explore survival strategies in plants. Mangroves live in some harsh conditions on earth, salty, waterlogged soil, yet they manage to grow and support ecosystem. I will explain four key aspects, that is how they capture and use energy, how enzymes regulate their metabolism, how ATP produced to power cellular activities, and how photosynthesis and environmental adaptation work together to keep them alive. By the end of this presentation, we will see why mangroves are such an important symbol of resilience. Next is the habitat, that is the mangroves habitat. Mangrove forests are found along tropical and subtropical coastlines. These areas face constant tidal flooding, higher salinity, and very low oxygen in the soil. There are very many species, but two common species are the red mangroves, which develop probe roots for stability, and the black mangrove, which grow special air roots called pneumatophores. Beyond their own survival, mangrove stability coastline from erosion and provide critical habitat for fish, birds, and crabs. Their environment is quite challenging, but they have evolved incredible strategies for their adaptation. The environment, that is energy from the environment. Like all other plants, mangroves also depend on sunlight as their primary source of energy through photosynthesis. They take in carbon dioxide from the air, water, and minerals from their roots and convert them into glucose, which fuels growth, repair, and production. What makes them unique is how they deal with salty water. Unlike most plants that would have dehydrated in such condition, mangroves filter salt at the root level or excrete it through their leaves. This ability ensures that the energy they capture from sunlight effectively used without the stress of salt or the toxicity from the salts. Now, the enzymes, that is the role of enzymes. Enzymes are like the workers of the cells. They make sure every reaction happens quickly and efficiently. In mangroves, enzymes play vital roles in photosynthesis, respiration, and salt management. For example, enzymes help capture carbon dioxide and transform it into glucose. They also drive cellular respiration, turning glucose into usable ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. And finally, enzymes help regulate ions by preventing harmful salt buildup. That is, without these enzymes, the mangrove survival would be impossible because its metabolism would slow down and vital process would fail or even stop. The key example here is rubisco. Perhaps there are other examples, but one important enzyme is rubisco, which captures carbon dioxide in the Calvin cycle of photosynthesis. It is often called the most important enzyme on earth because it drives the first step of food production for plants. For mangroves, rubisco is essential to make carbohydrate under stressful conditions. If rubisco malfunction, The mangrove wouldn't be able to produce enough glucose and their growth would be stunted. This highlights just how critical enzymes are for survival in challenging environments. ATP production. Glucose produced during photosynthesis is not directly usable by cells. Instead, it must be broken down into ATP. The cell's energy currency, that is ATP, powers nearly everything in the cells, from salt pumping in roots to repairing damage caused by the salty water. The process occurs in three stages, that is the glycolysis, the citric acid cycle, and the oxidative phosphorylation. Now, let's look at all the stages one after the other. The first step here is the glycolysis, which happens in the cytoplasm. Glucose is split into smaller molecules, making 2 ATP. Now, think of it as a chopping logs into firewood. It's preparation for bigger energy release. The second step is citric acid cycle. The citric acid cycle happens in the mitochondria. It produces a little more ATP and releases carbon dioxide. More importantly, it creates molecules that carry energy forward. And the last step is the oxidative phosphorylation. The last step, oxidative phosphorylation, produces most of the ATP, energy carriers, fuel a chain that creates a proton gradient, and ATP synthase makes about 34 ATP. And here oxygen is needed and water is formed as byproducts. Photosynthesis in mangroves. While respiration provides ATP, photosynthesis is where raw energy comes from. The process combines carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight to form glucose and oxygen. In mangroves, photosynthesis occurs in the chloroplast of the leaves, just like in other plants, but the key difference here is that mangroves do this while dealing with salty and waterlogged environment. The glucose they produce fuel respiration, while the oxygen they release benefit not just themselves but entire surrounding ecosystem. Adaptation, that is the unique adaptation of the mangrove. What truly sets mangroves apart are their adaptation. Like I explained earlier, red mangroves filter salt at the root level, while black mangroves excrete excess salt through their leaves, leaving behind visible salt crystals. To cope with oxygen-poor soil, black mangroves grow pneumatophores, which act like snorkels to take in air. Another fascinating feature is vestiprey, where seedlings germinate while still attached to the parent trees, giving them a head to start in life. In places like the Sundarbans in Bangladesh, this adaptation not only allows mangroves to survive but also to protect millions of people from storm and floods. Ecological importance. Mangroves are not just survival, they are also protector. They store massive amount of carbon, sometimes even more than tropical rainforests, which help mitigate climate change. Their dense root system provide nurseries for fish, crabs, and birds, ensuring biodiversity. They also act as natural barriers, reducing wave energy and protecting coastal communities from erosion and cyclones. In this way, mangroves show how biological survival can have global ecological human benefits. In conclusion and summary, mangroves survive in extreme environments by capturing sunlight for photosynthesis, using enzymes to regulate metabolism, breaking down glucose into ATP for cellular work, and employing unique adaptation to manage salt and oxygen stress. Their resilience not only ensuring their survival but also support entire ecosystem and human communities. Mangroves are a living reminder of how life adapts and thrives and contribute to the balance of our plants. Now, the reference I use Biology 2E by Clark and colleagues, along with other scientific sources on mangrove ecology and plant physiology. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful day.